storylines. So there was no imposition of overlaying some huge character on top of us, which I think, and many people agree, made us much more relatable. With the 3 and 3, you have people who identify with the middle child or the youngest or the oldest, so you have that going on. And he was creating an idealistic family. Not a real family, an idealistic family, right? So this is a family that you could, like if you didn't have this thing going on in your home, and after all, who did? It was something you could look at and appreciate, and it was a model for a lot of people. How a functional family would work. And that's what that show was about. So you have mom and dad paying attention and listening. You have the kids going through what all kids went through then, before then, and now. The same kinds of struggles, the same kinds of coming of age issues. And so that, and because it wasn't like political or based around current events, basically if you didn't have the bell bottoms, the polyester, and the headbands, you wouldn't even know that it was the 70s because the storylines are universal. And so is the moral. So there is a chemistry that was captured with the first incarnation of our show, which was us. Chemistry is not something you can fake. You can't act it. You can't pretend. You can't write it. But you can capture it. And that's what we did.
So are you still bitter that Cousin Oliver screwed the whole show up
He
for you?
Aren't you? Yes, he did. And he cops to it. That was an attempt to keep... There was a choice they needed to make come the fifth season. They needed to either allow us to grow, like they've done on Modern Family, and let the girls go off to college, and Luke go off to college, and grow, or try and maintain a younger demographic, and they went with that. Hence, Robbie Risk came in as Cousin Oliver, but had a very different style, a very different way of delivering a joke. And he's a funny guy, but it didn't really work in terms of the kind of comedy and the kind of reality that we created. But he gets the short end of the stick of that because he just had those episodes and we were canceled. But he's not the reason we were canceled. But he is the reason that not all of us were disappointed.
You know, I actually, and I loved all the different versions. Even I'll admit that I loved the variety version, and I thought it was fun to see you guys out of the bank. Because at that time, you know, a lot of people in the audience that are younger won't know that variety shows are huge. And taking a risk and bringing you guys back, because you were all very talented, and you had a lot of fun doing the things you did on the Brady Show, and obviously you toured. Was it with the Croft group or so that you did some of the live Brady musicals?
The Brady Kids actually preceded the variety show.
Right.
So we were touring not with the Crofts, but just as the Brady Bunch Kids.
Okay, just as the Brady Bunch Kids. Was that kind of a kick? I mean, to go from being a TV show about a family to suddenly...
Awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome. It was really fun. Yeah. We were out there with 8,000-10,000 people at a time and singing and doing a little choreography and changing costumes and coming in. It was like the rock star life.
But even in the last iteration, when you guys were the Bradys, which I thought was... I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was great to watch now as an adult, kind of be with the Brady family again and see them facing more current type of topics. Were you disappointed in seeing that show not take off as well, or do you think people were just, we wanted you to be groovy and cool and not be facing alcoholism or having to move, or, I mean, we didn't want to see real world problems? Do you think that's what made it not grab you?
There are two things about that. I don't think it was an aversion to real world problems, because there were shows that were dealing with it. I don't think people wanted to watch the Bradys deal with real world problems. It doesn't make any sense for our Marcia to start out the show fine, become an alcoholic in the middle of it, and then resolve that whole issue in an hour. So it's not only is it a real world problem, but we're not dealing with it in a world problem way, in a real way. So no, I wasn't disappointed. I didn't think it had a chance. And I think that there's certain elements about the Bradys that we can connect with and we can gravitate to and we can relate to, and that didn't include any of them. In addition to which, it wasn't really Marcia. In that episode, we had another actress playing her.
Which leads me to my next question from a young actress in California by the name of Jennifer Runyon. She's curious, who was your favorite faux Brady to join the cast?
Well, Jennifer would be right.
Oh, there it is. What a luck.
I really like Jennifer. I know her to this day.
Yeah.
And I thought she was very sweet. All the girls, I guess, had been replaced. We had Jennifer replacing Cindy for A Very Very Christmas, and then we had Jerry Rochelle replacing Jan for the Brady Bunch Hour, and then we had Lisa Ayers is her name. Lisa Ayers, A-Y-E-R, no, A-E-A-Y-E-R-S, I think, who replaced Maureen for the Bradys. The guys have always stuck in there. Held down to 4. I think of all the actresses, Lisa was probably the strongest.
They talked to Jen a lot online and have had her on a radio show, and she's funny, but I told her, hey, I get to work with your big brother this week, and she's like, ah! I love that she still nerds out about the fact she got to be a Brady.
And this is who?
Jennifer Runyon.
Oh, Jennifer.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Very sweet.
I think it's so great that she's still so Brady at this point, right? Having had that one moment. And this show has touched so many people, and you see the reactions. Is it funny to you to realize, here, 50 years later, people are still Brady fans. This show really matters to people. It touched a lot of people's lives and put them in a mindset, that they will always carry with us.
I think a lot of that plays into nostalgia, of course, in that, for instance, when you are looking at me or thinking about the Brady Bunch, don't you feel younger? like when you're 15. And I think we tap into that part of it. We remember a different time in our lives, and even though it was probably really difficult then, we've forgotten all that part, and we saved the really good part, and the Brady Bunch represents that. So that's unique, or pretty unique. There's been a remarkable history with this show, and I don't take credit for it, I'm just saying, it's never been off the air. In 50 years, it's never been off the air. It's one of the top 3 most popular television shows of all time, ever. Each one of our episodes has aired 182,000 times. Each episode, we did 100.
Just in my house. It's on constant.
So we're looking at like 34 million half hours of television. That's so much reinforcement with one character, with one show. It's not really surprising. But the surprise is that it has been on this long and that it has captured multiple generations. And this I would see in my shows as well. Doing the 70s music celebration with my grandpa and the kids, and I would make Brady references, and everyone would know what I'm talking about. That's a gift.
Do you find when you guys were getting back together to do these reunion programs, was it hard having a replacement that would have to fill in from time to time? Did that make the team feel disassociated, or was it just, this is the job, we do what we have to do?
I would say more the latter. It's a job. We all have friendships outside the show, and then there's a professional environment that we're in, and and if someone decides as an actor that they did not want to be a part of it, then that's that, and then you just go ahead and do your job. But do we miss them? Yes. Did I wish they were always together? Yes. I do think that HGTV is on to something here. They recognized it early, and they knew they were going to get all 5 of us. And then they made sure that they were going to get all 5 of us. I'm telling you, it's an open checkbook over there. And that's how
all 5? Have you guys done away with one of the Bradys?
Did I say all 5? Well, I meant all 5 others.
Okay, all right.
I'm not accepting.
I didn't know if you're snuffing out candles on each one. This room is a fail. Goodbye, Cindy.
I'm not accepting any compensation for it. I just love being with them so much. No. They made sure that we would be together, and we are, and happily so. What happens is that chemistry all comes right back. And so they are going to, again, if you watch any of these promos or Entertainment Tonight or any of that stuff when they throw it out, you get it right away. You see how we all react, how different we are, our own personalities, what's there. It's very relatable. It is an old shoe. And then they're going to do that, and then they're going to hit you with clips. And then they're going to build this Brady house, which is like what everybody was hoping they would do with this iconic property. So it's, there's a little bit more to go around.
Now, I want people to feel free to step up to the microphone in the center. This is your chance to engage him in his own grooviness. You can ask Barry Williams questions if you'd like to about the Bradys or his career. Don't be shy. Come on up and ask questions. If not, I'm just going to keep riddling questions at him. Yes, thank you.
It is not easy to send, so thank you for coming up and doing that. Of course, I do bite.
But that's $30, man. That comes with a picture.
Certificate of authorization, yeah.
Get off cheap.
So my question is, as you talk about the Brady Bunch, you're actors, but you became a family. And I had a great respect, and I had a great respect for Robert Reed. And we lost him, obviously, very early in life. Tell me about your fondest memories of him, knowing that you were more than actors working together, you were a family.
Well, primarily, our time together was as actors, although we did things outside the show. There would be two things. One, on the acting side, being classically trained as he was, he would take these scenes and we would do acting exercises together. Not just with me, but with other cast members, and we would be looking, for instance, to find the meaning of the scene, maybe an alternate meaning of the scene, maybe layers or levels of meaning to the scenes. We would change roles sometimes when we were doing lines. We would do speed read-throughs. We would do it with holding the script, not holding the script. So we would do all these things before we get on the set. I really appreciated that because of the craft. But I would say that the probably fondest memory was he wanted to share with us his life as an actor. He was trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London, and London was a very important part of his growth as an actor. And so he put together a trip with all 6 kids, his parents, 2 guardians, and we went to London. But we didn't just go to London. We flew from LA to New York, and we stayed there and saw 2 Broadway plays, which is where I was inspired to eventually work in Broadway, in Pippin. And then we saw Pippin there. Then we got on the QE2, the luxury liner, and crossed the Atlantic. That was 5 days together. Then we landed in London, where he took us to the Mousetrap, which is the longest running show like ever. I think it's been going on since the 50s. He took us up to Stratford-on-Avon, where Shakespeare did most of his writing, and there's a classical theater there, and we saw a Shakespearean play. And so he was just really opening up our horizons, our visions, our ideas, and things like that, and he was responsible for that. So that would be a favorite memory. Yeah, thank you. Oh, one more thing about it. He also gave us all Super 8 cameras just before we went on that to film, and I actually made a film out of that. So I use that now in my show, in fact, because the Brady's off screen, or when we went there, or went to Hawaii and things like that, and edited it. So that remains with me. Yes?
I have just a curious question, more on a personal note, for just not the whole Brady point. But we all come here to see actors like yourselves, and we're in awe. Do you recall the first actor that you got to see right after you started the business that just put you in like that? Can't believe I'm meeting.
I do, and that actor is the same actor that inspired me to become an actor. And that person is Peter Graves. And Peter Graves, that we all know as the silver-haired Mr. Phelps from Mission Impossible, was his daughter and I were in kindergarten together, lived down the street, and we were doing a show called Fury at the time. Fury was a Wild Western, basically, but they had a kid. and a horse. And this just, I watch this every